Yeah, Coach. I guess starting with Missouri, obviously 3-point shooting is a big thing with them. How do you describe if they're different from last year or just the way that they approach offense?
I don't think, I don't think that they're different. Franks creates the first problem for you because she's a big that shoots the perimeter shot, trail three. The point guard, she pushes it, penetrates, and creates a lot of shots for them. Obviously, they are different in personnel a little bit, but their style of play is pretty much the same. And it's not easy to defend out there. So we've got our hands full. Always have decent games against Missouri. We beat them there, I think, 20 last year, but Alexis Morris had a pretty good game there, and we don't have Alexis Morris this year. So first game, everybody's excited. So I would imagine Missouri's excited as well. They haven't played in a while. I noticed they didn't play a game before conference started, so they've had plenty of time to get in the film room and rest up.
And a follow up to that, last year y'all's 3-point defense was really good. Obviously, the different personnel this year. Do you feel like y'all have the ability to, with Morrow and Reese, to get out there?
Well, we have no choice. I think Aaliyah is a concern because she's a freshman and she's 6'5" and might not move her feet quite as quickly as Angel and Morrow. I have a lot of confidence in Angel and Morrow as our post players defending the three, maybe more so than I've had in previous years. Faustine was here when I first got here, and we played, Florida Gulf Coast, and it was just hard for us to get out there. And then, last year I had Angel out on the perimeter a lot. But that's not just at LSU. That's in my career because we're not going to change who we are. We're not going to put a bunch of guards out there to guard on the perimeter. You're going to have to bow your neck, and you're going to have to get out there, and you're going to have to move your feet and guard people.
As you start the conference slate, where do you say you are as far as knowing what you have with your team and the roster?
If I had had everybody together for a long period of time and not all the disruptions from injuries to being away from the team, I would feel a lot better. Right now, we've only had Haley back for the one game, and everybody else is, we're trying to figure it out, but you can't rush that. Is it the perfect scenario to start conference? No, but it is what we've had to deal with, and I just see every day in practice us getting a little bit better.
Yeah, Coach. For Angel specifically, she missed some time, and then she's had to play with a lot of different post players. Are you impressed with how she's maintained her efficiency and, I mean, her numbers even in less minutes?
Angel Angel would love to lead our team in assist. She is passing up a lot of shots. You'll watch her get the ball down in the paint, and she can go up and shoot a layup, and she's passing it to the backside for somebody else to shoot the ball. Angel is all about winning first. She's not about just double doubles. She knows her game is good enough that she's going to get those if she plays good. She just is getting back into the flow, as they all are, from a 7-day Christmas break. Conditioning, hits them about now, so have to be really smart with substitutions and make sure that we understand the task at hand tomorrow is a lot different than maybe what we've seen so far.
Among the things that you've tried to improve upon from a year ago, your free throw shooting is definitely, taken a notch up. You're shooting very well. What do you attribute that to?
Help me or correct me. I don't read many stats, but I did notice something. Are we like leading the country in free throws? Yeah. Just the attempts was impressive to me as a coach. I've always said, man, if you could shoot around 70% from the foul line, you're gonna win a lot of games. But if you're not getting to the foul line enough, that 70% doesn't mean a whole lot. And I saw something where we're getting to the foul line, and that's impressive. There are games where we're not shooting it well. I think, was it the last game, Angel was 0 for 5 and Morrow was, but they did get to the foul line. So they're trying to compete in a way and score some points for us when maybe they're not, scoring the ball.
Got a couple for you. How is Haley? How did she feel day after the game?
Good. I haven't been told anything. She's been practicing. I think she's good to go.
And you talked about letting it develop at a pace. Does that let you coach things differently, as far as trying to rush things or get things solved right away? Do you get to coach at a more relaxed pace and kind of feel it out as the games evolve throughout the course of conference?
What was your first part of that,
Just
Michael?
you kind of mentioned like it's not solidified yet, right? So there's no point in trying to like make it something it's not. Does that allow you to coach it a little differently? Kind of everybody playing with patience, understanding that it's still a progression.
Well, are you talking about Haley or are you talking about the whole group? The perfect world, you come here, you've got those returning players, the 3 that we had. Now we're down to 2. I'm talking about that we're in the lineup. The perfect world, you have those 3. The perfect world, everybody's healthy. The perfect world, Samaya Smith. I mean, man, that would have been fun, but we don't have that. And you know what? We're not the only team in the country that has to deal with issues and deal with injuries. The thing that I will say again that has impressed me with this bunch is they kept winning. They kept finding ways to compete and win. And I go back to that Virginia game. That was a game that was set up for us to lose, and we would have had every excuse in the world to lose. But we didn't. That was the game Morrow really shined and Morrow really led us. And so consequently, her game is taken off. And I just don't know that we are anywhere near being polished. And I judge that on the defensive end of the floor. We cannot be polished and score a lot of points because you have that much talent. Where we're not polished is on the defensive end of the floor and sacrificing our bodies and taking charges and keeping people in front of you, getting back in transition defense. That's when I really will get super excited about how good we can be, but we're not there yet. We're giving up way too many points. Yeah, you say, well, you're winning by 40 or 50, but I don't look at that. I'm looking at little things that will matter in the big, tight games.
Coach, how do you like the way the SEC schedule starts for you the first few weeks? And before the season started, you had a handful of SEC teams in the top 25, and now it's back to where it's been the last couple of years, where you only got 2 after some of the dust has settled through December. Is that where you thought it would be, or do you think it's stronger than it looks?
To go back to your first question, when the schedule came out, I didn't look past the first game. Years ago when I started coaching, man, I studied everything about it, and I'd get mad about this, and we got 2 on the road, and you outgrow that. You outgrow that, and so what I've learned to do is just focus on what's ahead of you, the task ahead of you. So right now, my focus for this week is on Missouri and Ole Miss. And maybe that's because my brain can't function that far in advance anymore, or maybe it's just this team needs me in the moment. So to answer your question, I can't tell you too much beyond Missouri and Ole Miss. As far as the rankings, everybody thinks their conference is the best. I mean, that's when I was in the Big 12, I thought we were the best conference. Now I'm in the SEC, I think we're the best conference. Rankings are recognition, but it's also somebody's opinion. How many times have you guys looked at the rankings and go, that team just beat a team that's got injured players and they jumped 10 spots? It's an opinion. I think that our league lost a lot of good seniors last year, and we brought in a lot of transfers, and I think maybe a lot of people don't know if we're that good or not in the league this year. I know we see enough film and watch enough to know we're good. We're good. Our league is good.
Hey, Coach, I know you said you're still working on the defense, want more there, but just overall, now that non-conference play is over, since that first game, how far do you think your team has come and improved?
Again, it's kind of hard to judge when you don't have all your pieces out there. And we really have not had all our pieces out there for 14 games. Did we do what we needed to do? Yeah, we won. After the Colorado game, we took care of business. Some of the games were not pretty, but we did what we needed to do to win games. We want to win 90% of our non-conference games, and we did that. So now we flush it. It means nothing. It was an opportunity for a lot of people to get a lot of minutes because we had some games that had wide margins of victory. But now we'll see. We'll see if some of those players that got to play in those games will be able to produce for us in these SEC games. You hope so.
Hey, Coach, have you ever coached a player like Anissa, someone who can rebound as well as she does and get out on the perimeter and move her feet and defend guards?
Reed, now you're aging me, man. I've been doing this 38 years. I'd have to think about that. So let me think about that and come back at you. Do you know how many of those great players I've been blessed to coach? And if I said one right now, I'm sure I would forget. Well, Coach, you had this one back in. So let me think about that and talk to my coaches who have been with me the longest, and because I don't want to slight anybody, but I've coached undersized post players, and she's an undersized post player. I've coached leapers that were undersized that could just get up and just slap the backboard. But I'm trying to think, did I have one that could take you outside and shoot the three ball, can shoot the mid-range jumper, and then go in there and defend you as an undersized post player? Let me think about that a minute before I answer that. Is that a good politically correct answer?
Reed and I are on the same page. I'm just looking at her numbers defensively to have that many steals and blocks.
Well, now let me say this about the steals. Anissa makes us better defensively because she is very, very active with her feet and her hands, especially with on-ball screens. I mean, she's going to head you right there, and she's going to strip you. I love that about her game, and I don't want to take that away from her. And I can tell you, I've been very reluctant for many years to hedge with post players because what happens? They usually get a foul. They usually get in foul trouble, and I don't want them picking up an early foul. She is so good at that, and that is definitely a part of her game that I may not have coached a post player that can do it as good as she can defensively. That part of her game, I can tell you unequivocally, she's pretty salty doing that.
What do you think Michaela's in for now that conference play starts?
I think she's going to see how she will be guarded much differently than what she was in non-conference. Everybody's going to know everything about each other. And she's got to know that they're going to know how many times you go right, how many times you cross over. They're going to know your strengths, your weaknesses. And so it's going to be interesting to watch her handle that. It's going to be interesting to see if it bothers her. It's going to be interesting to see if it's no big deal to her. Then on the defensive end, she's going to have to guard people that are older, that are as good, if not better, and quicker than her. This is that next level up. This is that next level up from non-conference, and she is a confident young lady. I have no doubt she will adjust, and she may not even have an issue with it. But I think what usually happens to freshmen is age, maturity, and experience tend to frustrate freshmen. But the great ones, that I've coached that have been in the lineup as freshmen can handle it. So I'll be as curious to see as anybody.
Got time for a couple more questions here.
Along the same lines with the freshmen, you've got a starter, you've got a six-man. Can you assess how your contributions from all your four freshmen have come to this point? And will they, maybe Janae and Angelica continue in their roles?
Well, I don't know. If you look at us right now, we've got basically 7 players I'm going with. Samaya losing her, that was the eighth one, you know, KP was the ninth one, all that. So what you're looking at after your seven players that are getting the majority of the minutes, who will be that eighth player? In what game will it be Janae? In what game will it be Amani Bartlett? In what game will it be Angelica? I don't know that. They have not separated themselves from, for me to make that decision. It would be based upon what I need in the game that particular time, and it may be that I only go with 7 players. Depends on foul trouble. It depends on how people are playing. I know this, Amani Bartlett, I have as much confidence in her today, and she's not a freshman anymore, she's a junior, as anybody, because she knows the system. If you don't go in there but one time and you defend and you get deflections and you do things, you've done your job. Now, to talk about all 4 freshmen, obviously the 2 that have gotten the most minutes are a little bit more confident probably than the other 2. The other 2 go in the game like all players do coming off the bench. You don't want to mess up. You don't want to mess up. The other 2 probably get the minutes to mess up and get to fix it. So it's just part of coaching and keeping their spirits up, keeping their confidence up. And I have not noticed anything any different other than maybe I've turned it up on them a notch and made it a little bit more intense in practice.
Coach, and all that summer ball overseas with Michaela, did that really help her and her not really looking like a freshman? And your thoughts on the fan promotion tomorrow night?
You're talking about 3-on-3. You know, she and Haley Van Lith both do that in the summer. That's going to, if it's not already been approved, an Olympic sport, and they're pretty good at that 3-on-3 stuff. If y'all have never seen it, go watch it. I don't know that it has any correlation to what we do. Those girls could go play 1-on-1. They could play 2-on-2. They're just ballers. I think that Michaela is just, she's strong. She has a big, strong body. And she can play the point if I needed her to. She could go post up as a 3 player if I needed her to. She shoots the ball crazy from the 3. So I don't know that it's helped her in her transition here as a freshman. They're just good players. The promotion, I just found out about it. So you know more than I do. I didn't approve it. I don't know who decided to do whatever, but if it helps somebody buy another ticket, God, I'd hate to see who thinks they look like me. Oh, I don't think so. I don't know anything about it. All I know is people were talking about, what is it? Is it dressed look like Kim Mulkey night or something? That's a scary ass thought. Huh? That's scary, man. But I'm not in charge of marking. If I had known, I probably would have said, yeah, we're not doing that. Do something for the kids. But they didn't ask me my opinion. Yeah, they better have lots of wrinkles, lots of gray hair, and I guess sequins, right?
Finish with last question in the back.
Not about sequence, but you're talking a lot about defense today. And I was curious, with Haley coming back and being more in the lineup, now back to game speed, you said you haven't heard anything about her health. How much does she help this defense?
I thought when Haley started the last game, and I said it to her in front of the team, we've been getting off to slow starts. It's like moving in mud. Let's go. It's a game of entertainment. I want to run. And I thought Haley listened while she was out to all of those comments during practice. And so consequently, when the game started, I found her pushing the ball, which makes everybody run with her. And if you'll remember, we were cross-court passing, we were throwing here, we were making the extra passes, we hit a bunch of threes. I loved that. Now what happened is they all got tired. And we started giving up points. We were terrible off the drive. Dribble penetration was awful. And it wasn't just the one guarding the ball, it was help side. It was just tired. But I did love how she pushed the ball and started. Haley reminds me a lot, I'm going to age myself here, but I coached a young lady named Sophia Young who was on my first national championship team, and Sophia was just learning the game of basketball, but she gave you so much effort. And I would always tell her that's wasted effort. You're working so hard and making it harder than you have to defensively. And what I'm talking about there are just angles. She would get up on the ball and man, she'd be up in the, you don't have to do all that. All you got to do is be up on them and channel them to a sideline. And when you do that, you've done your job because now everybody knows if they're ball side or help side. And I think she's starting to figure that out. It's not about stealing the ball. It's not about harassing the ball. It's about angles and channeling it and doing your job so everybody else can feed off of you. And that comes with teaching and her just being in the system. POA does it really good. POA does it really good, but POA, it took her time to learn in the half court. Just channel them and keep them out of the paint. Thank y'all.